This program is dedicated to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future. Meet Keith Warren. As a 30-year veteran of the outdoor industry and devoted conservationist, the original Texas angler and outdoor television icon has hunted around the world and across America, showing you big game, educating outdoorsmen, and uniting all hunters. That's Keith Warren, and this is The High Road.
Rifle has not been shot now for a couple of weeks, and it has been abused by the airlines. So I put it in good case. I just want to make sure that I'm still on, and I am super, super stoked about today's show. All right, here. Beautiful, absolutely perfect. This is Kansas, folks, and today's a special day. It's been on my calendar for a long, long time. Tomorrow is opening day of rifle season. I'm up here with a couple of really good guys, big guys in the deer industry. First off, I'm with Dr. James Kroll. He and I go way back. We've hunted together a lot in the past, and we've got a great relationship. I tell people Dr. Deer is kind of his alias. Dr. Deer has forgotten more about deer than most people will ever know. And then I'm with John Butler. John's going to, actually, this is the, John Butler has Buck Forage Oats, and this is the Buck Forage Ranch right here in central Kansas. And I'm dead on it, and I'm so pumped I can't even begin to tell you. There's lots of big bucks here. There are, and I'm sighted in here. I got one more thing to sight in, and then we'll get busy. Here in central Kansas, when you're thinking about what kind of buck are we going to see, we're just liable to see the world record walk up any day. We got everything from 6-pointers to Boone and Crockett deer. The main thing, though, that's exciting here is the number of mature bucks that are out there, and that's what I hunt. I hunt mature bucks. I like them. Yes, I like a big score, but I want to kill a mature buck. By mature buck, I mean 5 years or older.
Opening day. Here we are in Kansas. You can see it looks a lot like South Texas in the brush. There's lots of brush out here, some mixed cedar. It's real thick. We've got some Buck Forage oats right in front of us. And the sun's just coming up, and they said it's going to get breezy today. I think they told us a lie. I think it's going to get downright windy. But these deer here supposedly are used to it. I'm not, but we're going to tough it out and see what happens. Welcome to Kansas.
Well, I tell you, opening morning was a special day. It wasn't blowing like this. It was a calm day. We had a lot of trail camera photographs of a beautiful 6x5. It was one of those times rare times when it just all came together. Nolan Swinghammer, my cameraman, and I, we were out there in one of John's blinds on a Buck Forage oat plot down a pipeline, and boy, it wasn't very long at all, and some does came in, and right behind them was this beautiful 6x5. We were doing our recovery, and I'm right in the middle of it, and Keith comes out of nowhere and interrupts my recovery scene. And I tell you what, it was just great for him to show up, because that gave us an opportunity to kind of interact with each other, and it's a good memory. I didn't interrupt, did I?
I don't care. I don't care, buddy.
Look at this. I mean, we wound up, John's got the Buck Forage oats planted down there in front of where we were.
Right.
We did not go in the ground blind. We set up in that tower stand, because I really didn't know the lay of the land, and we saw a lot of activity. Didn't see any big deer, but we saw a lot of does, and I've got those doe tags. So this afternoon, what we're planning on doing is going down in the ground blind. But this guy right here, I mean, did you see any other deer besides him?
Yeah, we saw other bucks, but you talk about a wild sucker. He came in along this edge, stayed just a second, and he took off. And just as he started to take off, I asked Nolan if he was on him. He said, yeah, and pow, we got him.
Man, congratulations.
I'm glad you got here. Now you can help me get him to the truck.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you finish your video lines, and I'll see if I can go find Butler to help you.
Hi, I'm Dr. James Kroll, and you're watching The High Road with my buddy Keith Warren.
High Road with Keith Warren is brought to you in part by Gamma Precision Air Rifles, Glock, Record Rack, Oil-Filled Camo, and Heartcraft Hunting Products.
Well, this may be the opening week of the rifle season, but crossbows are legal during rifle season. Unfortunately, they're not during the bow season, but they are during rifle season. Keith brought along his crossbow. I brought along mine. I'll tell you what, I've really enjoyed my crossbow. It's a great way to hunt deer. It's really catching on around the country, and I tell you what, crossbow hunting is, if you haven't tried it, you need to try it.
The reason why I brought the crossbow along with the 270 is simply because I didn't know what to expect. James is going to be using a crossbow, and crossbows are not legal in Kansas during the archery season, but they certainly are during the rifle season. And so, like I said, I don't know what to expect. So when I don't know what to expect, I'm going to bring the crossbow. About 30 yards is about the top, so I'm going to shoot this thing. I could shoot it further, but the thing about a crossbow, a lot of people don't realize it makes a lot more noise than a compound bow, so the speed of sound is going to travel faster than the arrow when you get way out there. And so the animals have a tendency to duck a lot with a crossbow, so kind of limit your distance. And for me, 30 yards is about the most I want to really shoot. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shot. Something else with a crossbow, if you take a look at the top of the rail right here, you can put your fingers up there if you want, but you're going to lose them if you do that. You'll never do it again. So be careful of that.
You know, one of the interesting problems associated with intensively managing deer on your land is when you make your land the perfect place for deer, everybody else's deer wants to be on your land. And so that creates a problem, and you're going to have to take part in herd reduction. You're going to have to shoot does. If you don't like shooting does, you need to get over it, because that's a part of management today, is herd control through doe harvest. You know, I'm asked a lot about when to harvest does and what does to harvest. The sooner you get those does off the range, the better off you are. As far as the age of does to harvest, I like to take the mature, older does, because if you have young does, you've got a higher genetic diversity, you're turning that herd over faster. So instead of taking the young does, like a lot of people like to do, I prefer to take the old does.
I've got a doe tag in my possession. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, sure, I want a big buck to walk in, but if a big, old, fat doe walks in, I'm gonna try to put her on the ground. Got her. Boy, that smoked right through her heart, guaranteed, guaranteed. That I could hear a thumper. I saw that luminot go right through her. And I'm talking about it thumped her. Kansas, opening day of the whitetail season. Crossbow, baby, crossbow. This is Striker 380. Oh. And we got us a dead doe. It's gotten colder since we got in the stand this morning. And they're threatening snow coming. Clouds are starting to move in. It's getting cold, and the deer really, really ought to start getting on the move. But we already got one down. It's right at 30 yards. I'll tell you what, that dude right there is exactly what I want to see. She couldn't go far. And there she is right there. Look at the, whew. Oh, big old fat doe. This is perfect. This is absolutely outstanding. This is an old doe, a big old Kansas doe. What a way to start out the opening day of whitetail season right here in Kansas. This doe is so old, she probably surprised me she didn't come in with a walker. She's so old. Okay, I want to point something else. That the crossbow is such a cool tool. I mean, it's just another tool to help people have an opportunity to go hunting. It's a recruitment tool. It's a retainment tool. So people that want to get into archery hunting that don't really have the skill to maybe shoot a compound bow yet, hunting with a crossbow may be the ticket for you. You know, although in Kansas right now, crossbows are not legal equipment to use during the archery season. They will be someday, because more and more states are coming around to understanding that, hey, crossbows are a recruitment and a retainment tool. And this crossbow right here helped me take a big, fat, old Kansas doe.
The High Road with Keith Warren is brought to you in part by Reconyx Game Cameras, Savage Arms, the Yukon Cold Line by Igloo, Grizzly Cartridge Company, and Jarden Consumer Solutions, makers of the Game Saver. Off-Power Polaris presents Viewer Feedback.
Harvey Johnson's from Florida. He says, thanks for being one of the people that's helped me hunt and enjoy the outdoors. Your TV shows are great, and I had your entire DVD collection, but it got lost when we moved to Wyoming. 2 questions for you. First, can I still order your DVDs? And secondly, what's happened to the DVD business? I don't see them available like it used to. Well, the answer to your first question is that you can still order our DVDs on our website at keithwarren.net. Just go to the store and you can order them. Secondly, what happened to the DVD business is the internet and YouTube and all the videos online. That's kind of what ate up the DVD business. But yes, our DVDs are still available. Just go to keithwarren.net and look them up. Tell you what, Harvey, that's a great question. I'm going to shoot you an email and get your address, and I'm going to send you a collection of DVDs for your own, just for submitting the question. And thanks for taking the high road.
All right, when we first came up with the idea of game cameras back in the early 70s, we never knew that they were going to take off and be as useful as they are. And I'll guarantee you, a game camera is an important part of my management program. It tells us not only what bucks are out there, but it gives us an unbiased estimate of our buck-doe ratios, what our fawn crop is, and even more importantly, the recruitment. And I'll guarantee you, it's a great scouting aid. If you use them properly, and you use them throughout the season, you can make adjustments to your hunting strategies based on what the deer are doing at that point in time.
Any serious whitetail hunter knows that Kansas is the place to be if you want to go to a place that the odds are really, really good of a true giant walking out. So I've hunted Kansas several times in the past, and I've always had a lot of fun here. I've never taken a true giant deer, but I've always had a lot of fun here. And so when James Kroll wound up asking me, about 8 months ago, he said, would you like to go to Kansas and hunt at the Buck Forage Research Center? I said, game on.
Now the blind system here at John's facility is pretty much located on the food plots. The reason is, yes, buck forage oats are a great nutritional addition to your management program, but also being the most preferred type of forage, they pull the deer to you. And so they're a tremendous harvest aid, and that's why we position our hunting blinds right there on the plots.
It was a great day, and I am just super stoked. And there's no way that I'm going to sit around till late in the afternoon to go out to the blind. So I get the crossbow, and I got my Savage, and I am hoofing it down that fence line. And I can't wait to get set up in that blind. Just keep my fingers crossed that this great day could even get better. So I'm looking across the field, and I mean, the clouds were moving through the sky, and it was just a beautiful evening, and I had my fingers crossed, and I look up, bingo. That's what I came to Kansas for. He is standing about 100 yards away, just looking at that field. I mean, he's looking in there like, okay, I know there's got to be a doe in there somewhere. And all of a sudden, when he starts walking, the closer he gets, the more I realize, you know what, this is a big buck. Got him. He fell right there. He fell right there. He's right next to the blind. He's not 40 yards away. Oh, James wound up shot a really nice buck this morning. And I just shot a really nice buck this evening. Check out these blinds. Buck forage doesn't do anything halfway. I mean, they've got the best food plots out there, and they've got the best deer blinds. These are homemade. They're 8 by 8 by 8. They're perfect for bow hunting, for rifle hunting. And when that buck walked in, I went up and said, you know what, it's opening day. They're threatening snow coming up down the road. And I'm like, well, I could grab my crossbow or could grab my Savage Lightweight. Grab my Savage Lightweight. Look at this. This is a fence line right here. He came. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful buck. This right here, my friends, is what I came to Kansas for. Then this is what most people come to Kansas for. Look at that. He was a 10-pointer. He's got a broke off tine right here, but look at here. I mean, what a big bodied sucker. And that 270 laid him out, I'm telling you what. You know, hunting in Kansas, it's like the promised land for whitetail hunting. I mean, you know, I get to hunt whitetails from Canada to Mexico, but hunting in Kansas, there really is no telling what's gonna walk out of the woods, and that's the cool thing. I mean, this morning, James smoked a great big buck. And I really and truly, I was sitting there thinking, probably chances are not real good. I look up, boom, here's Daddy-O. I mean, look at him. This is a gorgeous buck. I mean, he's got pine length. He's got good mass, good brow tines. Look at that brow tine right there, it broke off too. But he is just a beautiful deer. And you know, he was coming in, I think the buck forage oats kind of got him. I mean, he wound up, he came in and looked, he didn't know if there was something in that blind or not. But then all of a sudden he was lured by the oats. Hey, y'all don't go anywhere. We got more Kansas whitetail hunting right after this.
The High Road with Keith Warren is brought to you in part by Striker Crossbows, Half Power Polaris, Burt Coyotes Luminoc and Lumineros, Shadow Hunter, your total comfort hunting blind, Elevators, your easy way up, the new supercharged scent killer by Wildlife Research Center, beyond 99%, and BSA Optics.
Probably the #1 selling product of all food plots is our buck forage oats. Buck forage oats are the most winter hardy oat that's ever been developed. We've actually been involved in it, I guess, for over 40 years now.
You know, one of the things that really bothers me, and I guarantee it bothers the heck out of John Butler, is when we hear people say an oat is an oat. And that's absolutely not true. There's a difference between oats. There's spring oats and there are winter oats. Winter oats are designed for grazing. And the buck forage oat has been selectively bred over a 19-year period to produce deer forage. It is an oat for deer forage, not for grain. It wasn't made for Quaker oats. It was made for deer food.
All peppers are peppers, but different varieties include bell peppers and jalapenos. Now, if you don't think there's a difference between one pepper and the next, then you need to try those two and see if you can tell. If you've done any pricing or anything like that, you probably realize that buck forage oats is one of the most expensive oat products out there. And the main question that comes up then is, what's the difference? Well, the difference is extreme. First, Dr. Kroll tests them. And over a period of time, over 20 years now, we've pretty well identified characteristics that seem to relate to palatability or preference by deer.
You know, when I first started working with cereal grains for deer, I was pretty much against oats because they would freeze out. What I didn't know was that there are a handful of varieties that do not freeze, and John's oats are one of those. They'll get down, 8 degrees all the way down to 0 and not freeze out. Also, oats, every time we do any comparison on preference between oats, wheat, rye, and ryegrass, oats win out every time. Oats have more water and alcohol-soluble carbohydrates in them, and so they provide a lot of digestible energy for your deer. What we've done here is that we have introduced intensive deer management to Kansas. Now, folks think that Kansas doesn't need any management, but I'll guarantee every place does. And management, although folks like in Texas have been doing it for decades, it's a new concept here. And John has put together a bunch of landowners in a cooperative. He's leased up a lot of this country, and he's teaching them all about management. Tonight, they're all coming over to meet Keith and I, and to eat some fish and have a good time and talk about deer management.
One of the things that really surprised me is while we're sitting over there and just relishing on the fact that, hey, I had a wonderful opening day, is that they brought a game camera picture. You know, we mentioned earlier the game camera is one of the most important management tools there are, and all of a sudden they hand it to me, and it turns out that the buck that I shot, they had a picture of him, and it was just, how cool is that? So that's just living proof. I mean, talk about a game camera being a good management tool. Well, it is.
You know, James, Dr. Kroll's been coming out here with us 4 or 5 years now, and always have a blast when he's here. He always gets the good stands, it seems like. But you know, we found out this year that Keith will be coming out also, coming with Doc and hunting at the same time. You know, it would take it up a whole nother level for us, and we've really enjoyed having them both out, and glad they were both able to get on a nice trophy buck while they were here.